that camouflage, they get to do all sorts of things in a bid to collect information. Once again, I know some security agents are listening right now, right? But this problem has pervaded even the security realms into our common spaces. I went to a secondary school where I was tortured. This wasn't just bullying, it was torture. I hung from the ceiling hook, I said this thing since I started working here, for 3 hours with my 2 fingers. For what? Because I refused to give somebody 50 naira. The person asked me to hang there so I can tell him where my pocket money was. That's torture. That's inhumane. And so when you are beating people, and I personally understand the emotions that come when your hard-earned, property that you bought is being stolen, or kidnappers have taken your son or your daughter, and you catch the person. You want to rain blows on the person. Before I open the mic, I got to see a very interesting video a few days ago. Maybe you saw it, of 2 young men. Well, one looks older than the other, who were apprehended in the community. They were tied, their hands behind their backs, and they were being whipped in public. And people were making a sing-along with them. "I'll not go thief again, shake your bum, I'll not go thief again." And they were being whipped. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not punishment. That's torture. But some of you like that kind of behavior. Even as far back as 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte barred his generals from using torture because he knew that it did not work. So the question is, do you know the difference between interrogation and torture? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conversation.
And now, hello Port Harcourt with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
As always, turn down the volume of your radio set. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments. Do not make unsubstantiated and unverified claims. And please do not make inciting statements. 08179230002, 08179230003, 08179230002, 08179230003. Follow us on social media at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH on Facebook and on X. That's Twitter, at Nigeria Info PH. If you've never joined us in our conversation, I'd like to encourage you. There's a call screen out, so don't be scared, don't be shy. Make that attempt. Call in. Let's get to hear your view on the subject matter. Zion is speaking to us from GRA. Good morning to you, Zion.
Yeah, good morning to you. Torture. It is when you subject that person to hardship. In law, we call it duress, undue influence. It's not in the right frame to give you that information you are looking for. You flog him, you hang him, you burn him with pressing iron, you intimidate him. All these things are torture. And indeed, you cannot get information from that person. Just like the case you cited, we don't want to speak because of the sensitive nature of that matter. But let me be honest to you on this platform. That guy, they put tire on his face and grilling him, he have a case in court. He can sue the Nigerian police, sue the individuals, sue the Republic government, even sue Nigeria and Attorney General. But that action done upon him. See the tire? He's bleeding. Do you know his defense? To save my life, I have to say what I said. You see that matter? Most of us, We don't know that our actions count when it comes to law. Let me stop here. It's so annoying.
Zion, thank you very much. Now, it's interesting that Zion made mention of getting into a case in court, because how many of you remember it was a certain kidnapper that came into notoriety a few years ago? I would say just under a decade ago, if my memory serves me correct. And, after a while, after all the publicity, the media rigmarole, up and down, interviews here, pictures, stories emanating from what he has done, the millions or hundreds of millions allegedly, obtained illicitly, the interviewer came up and said, I did not do those things. I did not do those things. Look, once again, let me be very honest. I have witnessed armed robbery, before this Obrigwe Bridge took its shape, right? Before it got to this point, when it was still being constructed, when they just made the road, right, and it was just one straight road, and then they just made the road from Alu to join this end and what you may call it, NTA Road, right? Those of you who have stayed in Port Harcourt more than 20 years, you know what I'm talking about. Before this bridge came up, right? There used to be a mechanic stop, right, just where this roundabout, this Obrigwe is. I was there with my friend one very lovely morning when we saw armed robbers. We didn't just see them, we experienced them. There was a chase. The police was chasing them, from NTA Road. There was gunfire. We heard the gunshot. Pow, pow, pow. Screech of tires. Everybody we're all over the place. And I can tell you, when we escaped, when we go home, the first thought that came to my mind was, if I just catch this armed robber, if I just catch this boy, I go flog them, scatter their body. I didn't know better. It's interesting that after experiencing what I experienced, I felt it was proper to do the same to the next person. So I understand the emotions you get when you catch a thief, you catch a criminal, a kidnapper. But once again, if you're going to get information from that person, there are skills and there is an art to interrogation. And unfortunately, it seems as though many people, particularly here, just use torture. 63rd Independence. Today has been pronounced a public holiday, so a lot of people are resting, and I think it is a much deserved rest. Now, all the other things that concern Nigeria and Nigerians as regarding the state of the economy and the things that should or shouldn't happen, must not happen. Well, you get to find out during the course of the day, as we have news updates every single hour right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info PH. But now to start our conversation, and I asked a very simple question. Are you aware of the difference between torture and interrogation? Now, for the sake of clarity, let's get to have a definition of interrogation. An interrogation is the formal questioning of a suspect, often by law enforcement or investigators, in relation to the commission of a crime or wrongdoing. Now, an interrogation can occur during a criminal investigation, an arrest, or often after a suspect is in police custody. But this is the important thing about interrogation. You see, interrogations follow procedures and regulations. Let me emphasize this. Interrogations follow procedures and regulations. But in most countries, there is a lack of transparency and information. There is a lack of transparency and information. And it's only recently, and when I say recent, I'm talking about in the past 2 decades, that the academia has caught up with trying to find out exactly why people act this way. Once again, if as far back as the 18th century, Napoleon Bonaparte, who was no screaming ivy, neither was he, the Princess Peach, was a conqueror. If he told his generals, don't use torture, as far back as the 18th century, I have to ask myself this question. How come over the years it is being done over and over and over again? It's as though there's a sadistic nature to man. So a thief was caught, and this is one of the biggest irony, particularly when you talk about the Nigerian space. A petty thief has been caught. Just recently, someone was caught trying to steal a minibus in one of the estates where my friend resides. He was caught in the dead of the night, about 1 a.m. in the morning. And then when he was apprehended, those who apprehended him started to lay blows already. The owner of the bus comes out and says, "Hey, leave him alone." "Oh, Oga person, you get the bus, say, "Now my boss." "Leave him. I forgive him. Please, don't kill him. Don't do anything to him." Now, I'm not pleased that this thief, this criminal, was let go, because he really had a question to answer with the courts, with the police. Is there a gang? People needed to be aware of that. But that did not happen because the, in quote, man of God was magnanimous. But the point here is people wanted to lynch him. And there's been a history of lynching in this country, and indeed all over the world. I saw a video, not of Africa, but in the East, where some interesting criminals were caught. Broad daylight, they tried to snatch somebody's handbag. The lady fought, only for people who were just passing by to join in. Ladies and gentlemen, the beating these boys received because they tried to steal a handbag, right, does not compare to the stuff they wanted to steal. But here we are, your uncles, your aunties, whether they are military officers, DSS people, police people, naval staff, customs, over the years have been caught, sometimes even on camera, in the business of torture. But these men and women who steal with the pen, who divert funds, who oppress, you're not keen on torturing them to confess their crimes. Oh no, in fact, that's a conversation for another day. You want to get the truth. You're a security agent. You want to elicit information from a suspected terrorist. Do you follow proper rules and regulation as regards interrogation? My name is Jude. Let's get back to the conversation.
Stimulating and insightful conversations. Hello, Port Harcourt. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
As always, turn down the volume of your radio set. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments. And if you didn't see it or hear it, please do not make unsubstantiated and unverified claims. Do not make inciting statements, please. Numbers to call 08179230002, 08179230007, 08179230002, 08179230007. WhatsApp and Telegram available on 08090306416, 08090306416. That's where you find us on WhatsApp. Then get to Facebook, please. Facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH on Facebook.com, and also on X as Twitter at Nigeria Info PH is where you will find us. Well, message on WhatsApp here is, good morning, Jude. It is true that those guys are bad, but the use of torture is not good. It gives onlookers trauma. I couldn't bring myself to watch it at all. Or to watch it all, rather. All right, thank you. No name to this. Good morning, Jude. For years, it's been in the back of my mind wondering how exactly these police officers and security agents often get the information. Do they sit down? Do they talk? Do they interrogate like you just defined? Or to just keep beating these people until they make confessions? If they do, then I have to admit that it's been a very bad case of torture. And I like to think maybe most of them actually use torture. All right, thank you very much, Fidelis, with that comment. All right, this one here says, Jude, good morning. It's not just the security agents. I think even us as Nigerians, we like to use torture. If you ask somebody to do something for you and they don't, more often than not, we believe in using the force. We call it parenting. But I don't think it's the same. Well, I don't want to draw parallels. But yeah, I understand the narrative you're putting, but I would not want to draw parallels. Ola is speaking to us from Rumekini. Ola, good morning to you, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Actually, we know that the way that those people are being tortured is bad. However, what I think that happened was because of the incident that happened. But in advanced country as well, they do torture, but
true.
It will not come back the way it came out from Nigeria, but that's the individual themselves. So it is very unfortunate anyway.
All right, Ola, thank you very much. Ola does make a very interesting point. Yes, in other countries, they torture. I remember reading reports years ago about Git Bay. I don't know if you heard of Git Bay, Guantanamo Bay. You know, it's one of those bases that the US had been alleged to have, you know, where they, in quote, hold terrorists for information, and sometimes they employ torture. That's the rumor. That's what they've been accused of in the past. There's still some controversy about Guantanamo Bay. I think it's about to be shut down. It's been shut down. But anyway, but the point here is, yes, it happens, right? It's not just a Nigerian thing, but there isn't any justification. In fact, I'm going to read a few interesting reports from research, you know, concerning torture very shortly. But let's get back to the phone lines. Emmanuel is on the line this morning. I also have a comment coming in from Ike. But Ike, I'll read your comments. Let's get to hear from Emmanuel. Emmanuel is speaking to us from Oyigbo. Emmanuel, good morning to you, please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. I like this program.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us, please.
Yes. Then this torturing we are talking, I think, what about this eco-putre that we hear that time that we are tortured in the police station in my law? What about the the same torturing or any other torture? Because we are not hearing about that torture again. The matter has just ended like that. And the things continue. Security agency.
If I'm not mistaken, right? That case, I think there was judgment passed on one of the officers, if I'm not mistaken. But that's an example of what we're talking about. It's all about torture. And the question I'm asking is, do you know the difference between interrogation and torture? Do you think we know? If you catch a thief, Emmanuel, in your area, would you slap the person and use your elbow and practice all your Jackie Chan moves on the person so the person would, in quotes, confess and tell you the things he or she has done? Do you actually know the difference? Now, Shane O'Mara, a professor of experimental brain research at the Trinity College in Dublin, has done extensive research that proves that the use of torture makes captives more likely to confess untruthful and inaccurate information. The stressors experienced during interrogations make them so confused that they are unable to distinguish fact from fantasy. Captives therefore tell interrogators what they want to hear so that the torture will stop. Did you hear that? Let me read it again, please. The stressors experienced during interrogations make them so confused that they are unable to distinguish between fact from fantasy. Captives, therefore, tell their interrogators what they want to hear so that the torture will stop. And I'm sorry, but a lot of the times that you get to have these videos where they say they're interrogating or people are telling them to confess. Many of these things are done with stressors. Tires over somebody's body, hands tied behind their backs, placed in compromising situations. But sometimes people support these actions. B is in Eliozu. Good morning to you, B. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Welcome, please.
Yeah, my name is B. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Thank you for joining us, B.
Yeah, you're talking about torture.
And interrogation. If we know the difference, do you think we do, B?
No, we don't. Especially in Nigeria. Do you know that police officers pride themselves that they will torture you? Now, for example, why do you think in advanced nations, in UK, maybe London and the West, America, and other advanced nations, if you have an issue, they can even send you a mail or a text message that report to the police station. You have some questions to answer. However, questions answered at the police station are synonymous to interrogations. People will turn up wholeheartedly. But in Nigeria, if you just hear police is looking for you, the person will start running. Whether they are guilty or not, they may be innocent, but they are running. Why are they running? Because the Nigerian police, their mentality is highly retarded. I'm sorry for using that word. Their mentality is highly retarded because they feel they will have to torture you to bring out the truth from you, which obviously is not. However, this issue of torture also happens in organizations. You see bosses, CEOs, your superiors torture you emotionally because what they will tell you is that the body language. I used to work in an entertainment industry, one of the most popular entertainment industry in Port Harcourt, in GRA. I don't want to mention their name. They do cinemas and the rest. I used to have an operation manager then. She was a tyrant.
Wow.
Practically a tyrant. She treats people that people who don't have guts, they don't even cower to her. They just stop coming to work.
Wow, they just stop coming.
But however, the woman is no longer there and that business is still moving. What I'm saying in essence is that the police officer should reorient their mind. There should be a recalibration of the minds of the police officers. The system. Look at it now. You can even, look at, I was driving the other day in Eliozu, in GU Ake Road. All these miscreants, these dissidents, these riffraffs that are calling themselves task force, those mere criminals, they are criminals. You see the way they behave without sense. You park on the road. Normally, you have offended, you have caused issue. Yeah, you have you follow the law. Okay, will you not behave like criminals? Even in the presence of police, they jump out of the next as if they want to rob you. They jump out and they do things as if they are criminals. What's the mentality in that? And we have a governor who supposedly looks decent and is not saying anything. That's what they are doing. Now you have an issue with somebody. Or perhaps you have an issue, somebody dies in your presence. That's why you see people in Port Harcourt today, they will be robbing somebody. People will be passing, they will not come. Why? Not because they don't have a good heart. But if they come, the next thing, anything can happen. Maybe the person dies, police round up. They will, have you not heard the popular saying that I don't follow? You don't just say you go pay like maybe 30 or 40,000. I saw an emoji the other day, and they were saying that they were police officers were looking for elephants, and all elephants were running. And the elephant was telling a tortoise, police officers in Nigeria are looking for tortoise. They are arresting people who are elephants, they are arresting elephants. And the elephant was not running. And at the same time, when the tortoise heard this news, tortoise was not running. And the elephant asked the tortoise, why are you running? He said that if he is arrested, it will take 10 years to prove that he is not an elephant.
92.3, good morning. Edward is in GRA. Edward, good morning to you, please.
Good morning. I want to extend my greetings and happy journey, gentlemen.
Happy Independence to you too.
Yes, I want to throw just one.
Oh dear. Edward, please do call us. But yes, the penultimate caller did make some very salient points, and it seems all comical, but it makes sense. He really does. Come answer a case at the police. You're on.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Why wouldn't they run? Why? When there's been a history of unfair treatment by security agents, the people who have, been held without charge, weeks on end, sometimes even months. Journalists, activists, even lawyers have been held against their will, no charge. That I agree with. I think what's his name? B. I think B makes a lot of sense. There's psychological torture. You have to ask yourself. In fact, as we're having this conversation now, it's beginning to make more sense. I don't know if it's making any sense to you. It's becoming clearer. That it's probably the reason why when people see police officers, they panic. Some people have PTSD. I hear some people no longer go out because they're afraid of getting. In fact, there was a period, I won't lie, there was a period when I was assaulted by police years ago. All right, and so for a while I refused to be in the car with anybody. I'd rather be either on my own or take a drop. That's PTSD. Why? I refuse to give you 100 naira. Blessing is in Abuloma. We have Collins in Wimpy. Blessing, good morning to you, please.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Just like what you're talking about, for me, torture is a jungle justice. And we shouldn't welcome it at all. Okay, I want to recount a video I watched about a woman, I don't know. Just like they said, she works in a bank, and she was the one giving information to criminals.
Oh dear!
You need to see the way they beat this woman. It was crazy. Like in my office, and I told them this is wrong.
It's wrong.
I know whatever the one did, because I was trying to process the information. It doesn't correlate because the scenario where the thing was happening, where they were beating her up, does not look like a bank premises. And they beat her, they naked her.
Oh dear.
And I said, fine, whatever she has done, she doesn't deserve this jungle justice. And in my officer was just looking at me. Are you kidding me? Frank has done done something wrong, but she does not deserve that. You take her to the police station. Why I try to understand the view of other people, like when you take her to a police station, you know our police now. But then, she doesn't deserve that. And why I don't like all the jungle justice torturing, sometimes these people can be innocent.
Very true.
So how do you repay back those torture? Is that a question we need to ask ourselves?
That's a great question, because in the eye of the law, you are innocent until proven otherwise. That was Collins in Wimpy. Let's get to read your messages, all right? 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. That's where you find us on WhatsApp at Nigeria Info PH. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info. PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. Let's quickly get to those platforms. All right, so on Facebook, Miracle in West says, good morning, Jude. Why torture is employed in interrogation is without torture, the suspect will not tell the truth. But when torture is employed, the suspect tells the truth to be on the safer side. If the suspect is found wanting or guilty, Jude, he or she should be tortured so that the next time he or she won't try it again, others will learn from it. Miracle, that is the challenge that we're having right now. Torture is wrong. Torture is wrong. Miracle, if you've not been paying attention, let me read it again. Torture is wrong. Even in war times, right? Particularly after the Second World War, there were meetings, and look, we have to stop doing this. It is inhumane. Even animals, don't treat animals like this. Animals don't treat animals like this. Dandy is in LLM. Dandy, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Collins is a wimpy. So, Dandy, I'm going to give you a minute and a half, please.
Okay. I think based on this issue of torture and interrogation, I think our police has their own professional. I like to share some personal experience. There was this period where people were, going about vandalizing transformers. So the estate I was staying then, we got our transformer vandalized and the animal cable was stolen. So we went to the community, just to go and check what was going on. And do you believe me, the policemen, people passed and took all of us there to the police station.
Wow.
That vandalized the transformer. In the process of, trying to, ask us some questions, we were answering. Before I know it, right from nowhere, an officer gave me the slap I will never forget until I leave this war. Like, I was beaten right in front of my 8-year-old son.
Oh, dear.
They were beating me, kicking me, telling me, you this thief. You were the one that vandalized the transformer. Are you the new leader of that place? I was like, What are the tools I used in vandalizing the transformer? With my son beside me.
Oh, no.
They were beating me. Do you know that night, I had to call a friend who came and bailed me that night, and other people were thrown inside the cell.
So if the police were really sure you were the vandal, why did they let you go?
That is the point.
Oh, dear.
When they see opportunities like that, what they are thinking of, we have avenue to make money. So they try to intimidate you, try to make sure they force up, unnecessary, untruthful confession from you.
Collins is in Wimpy. Collins, thank you for your patience. Please go on.
Good morning.
Good morning, please.
Yeah. Well, the problem we have in this country. We know the right thing, but we hardly do it. I've been paying attention, listening to all the callers. Right from the time Mr. Zion came on, everybody is condemning torture. Nobody is accepting that it's good. But we all do it. Even you, Jude, if you, which you have already said it before,
we are all guilty of all this. If somebody just shouts, thief, everybody come out, not knowing what the person is actually a thief or not. We all are guilty of all this. So why are we claiming to be sent on radio? It's too bad. How will Nigeria grow?
But Collins, I agree torture is bad, and that's why we're having this conversation. But do you know the difference between torture and interrogation? If you were to catch a thief, right? Do you know the procedures to interrogate the person? Do you know?
It's only the law enforcement agent that has the power to interrogate anyone.
Okay. Well said, then.
It's not by you torturing the person and putting tie on his neck, which all of us are guilty of.
Well, thank you very much, Collins. We'll be back after this break.
Tertiary institution is stressful, but Benton University has a way of simplifying things for their students.